everyone, and welcome to another episode of First Impression Sports Talk. I'm Jasmine Pollock, and today I'll be talking about the latest in the women's college basketball and the latest in the NFL offseason moves. Before we get started, please check me out on First Impression Sports Talk on my own personal YouTube. Every week you can catch me talk about all things sports, anything that's popping in sports, and some of the latest moves in sports. So let's get into the women's college basketball. Now, I'm so excited about this because I feel like the past 2 years, women's basketball, especially in college, has skyrocketed to new heights. And that's thanks to Angel Reese. That's thanks to Caitlin Clark. That's Paige Beckers and all those different women in basketball right now that are dominating. And I'm so proud of them because they're putting the women's basketball in a different stratosphere that it needs to be put at. When these women get drafted, this wave of women's basketball gets drafted, you're definitely going to see a big shift in the WNBA where there's going to be a lot more star power, a lot more money for sure, because all of these women are box office. And let's talk about Caitlin Clark. The last time I was on here, Caitlin Clark broke the record for the all-time leading scorer in NCAA basketball history between men and women. No person has ever done that before. A woman, like who would have thought, a woman would break that record? And when we look at her, she is a phenom, averaging 25 to 30 points a game. She's going to be box office, and I'm super excited for her and what she's going to be. But I think for Caitlin this year at Iowa, they have to get that championship. You have to win the championship because you have South Carolina's coming. They haven't lost a game since I don't know how long. For over 100 games, they haven't lost a game, and they're coming. LSU, even though they lost to South Carolina in the championship game, the SEC championship game, they're still going to be around. There's still teams that are going to be around that are going to be very competitive. And for Caitlin Clark, for her to cap off a great college career, she has to get that championship this year. But it's going to take a lot because I feel like with Iowa, they have a lot of good firepower, but she is the bread and butter of that team. She's the head of that team. She is the team. She is the team, essentially. And when we talk about Iowa, we're talking about Caitlin Clark. We're talking about her impact of the game and how she can change the game. And for Iowa, when you match up against a team like an LSU again, who you lost to in the championship last year, or South Carolina, teams who are built for this, teams that have multiple star players on their team and they're able to unify and be cohesive, I feel like that's going to be Iowa's downfall. I get Caitlin Clark. She's probably going to have like 40 or 50 points in that game, but it's all about that extra man. Who else is going to give you those amount of points and alleviate some of that pressure off of Caitlin? I think that's the big thing. Now let's talk about a little bit about the South Carolina LSU game. Now we know South Carolina won. That doesn't mean that LSU's out of it. I know people were like, oh, now Angel Reese and them are still in there. They're still going to be able to compete. It's just in a different, it's going to be lower in the rankings. And it's just astonishing what Dawn Staley is doing as well at South Carolina. She has been a winner there at South Carolina. That she has recruited so many phenomenal talents in South Carolina, and they are the cream of the crop when it comes to women's basketball in college. And I feel like last year I thought it was their year until they met Caitlin Clark. But I feel like now they have that experience. They have a bench, they have youth, they have girls that can go compete, they have girls that can play that are very physical. And I feel like if they continue this streak, I think South Carolina could be winning the championship. I have them winning it because I don't think anybody's stopping them, except themselves, when you look at it, because, last season they did lose to Caitlin Clark, and I felt like they were just out of it in a lot of different ways. And I feel like this year they're definitely going to be in their bag, definitely going to be competing at a high level. But we're going to talk about towards the end of the game with the fight. I am nowhere here condoning fighting in sports, even though that comes with sports. It does come with sports. And you have hockey, for example, which I love, which they do fight, but that's just the part of the game, I guess. But in a stage like that, I do not condone fighting. I don't condone, especially women who are trying to compete for so much more, who are trying to compete for spots in the WNBA. That's not a good look. And, I just appreciate Dawn Staley coming out and, just nipping it in the bud and definitely just giving some insight to what was going on and definitely just saying, like, listen, this is not the way. This is not how the community looks into women's basketball and basketball period. And I just feel like we have to be able to check our emotions. Of course, there's going to be trash talk. Of course, there's going to be a little, I'm getting in your face type thing. That's going to happen. But when we start throwing punches, when people start jumping out of the stands, you have brothers, family members jumping out of the stands to, wanting to square up with women. It doesn't give a good sight to the sport in general. It takes away from what happened in the game and the talent that was in that game. It takes away from that. So, players, just a heads up, definitely make sure that you are looking out for your teammates, looking out for your team before you look out for yourself, and not put so much heat on what you're trying to do, because if you're LSU, everyone's trying to get what you got, which is a championship. You guys are the defending champs, so everyone's chasing you essentially. So you should never let those emotions get the best of you to where you're fighting, you're pulling hair, you're doing all. It's just not where it needs to be. Play basketball. You can talk. I'm all for the trash talk. I'm all for getting in someone's face and letting them have it. But when we start putting hands on people, when we start pulling hair, doing anything, that's whether it's men or women, we cannot have that in sports, because that's not a good reflection of what the sport is in women's basketball. That wraps up that segment of women's basketball, and now we're going to get into the NFL, which I am super stoked to talk about because there's so much going on. Now, everyone knows I am a Green Bay Packers fan, so you get what I'm feeling right now. This morning I wake up and to the news of Aaron Jones signing with the Vikings. I don't know what it is about the Vikings wanting to get a lot of our players after they leave. I don't understand it. It was Brett Favre, it was Zadarius Smith, now Aaron Jones. And this one hurts the most because Aaron Jones is a different type of player. And I was shocked that we let him go yesterday. We signed Josh Jacobs from the Las Vegas Raiders. And I'm thinking, that 1-2 punch in the backfield, because I know A.J. Dillon, he's been out of the lineup last season due to injury. And I was thinking, like, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, 1-2 punch behind Jordan Love in this offense with our young receiving core. I was like, sign me up. But then 30 minutes to an hour later, the Green Bay Packers have let Aaron Jones go. And I was like, what are we doing? And it's painful because Aaron Jones was drafted here. He is a Packer, green and gold run through his blood. And, we've went through many battles with him, especially this past season of him. When he got healthy this year, when we went on that playoff run, he was in his bag. He was doing what he needed to do in order to keep us going into that deep playoff run that we had last season. And even though I love Josh Jacobs, I think he's a very talented back. I just feel like what Aaron Jones brought to our team is completely different. And for Josh Jacobs, that is a lot of shoes to fill, because Aaron Jones was one of those leaders in the locker room. He was one of those guys that you could rely on, that you could depend on when you needed him. And he was just an elusive back. He was able to get outside and do different things. And I just want to see Josh Jacobs do that. Josh Jacobs to me is more of that downhill power running back. Now he's younger. He's a few pounds lighter. I get all that, but I just feel like with Aaron Jones, he was our workhorse, especially with a young quarterback like Jordan Love. He was able to pass it off to Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones just took off. He just did what he needed to do. Even in that Dallas game, if you saw that Dallas playoff game, Aaron Jones has always did a number on the Dallas Cowboys, even against the 49ers. Now, early on, he wasn't getting the rushes, but then as the game started going on, he started getting those 8 to 10 yard runs that he usually gets. So for the Vikings, this is a W for you, because Aaron Jones he's gonna give you heart. He's gonna give you he's gonna give you everything he's got. And I wish we could have kept him, because that would have added this dynamic 1-2 punch in the backfield. Now it's like, okay, Josh Jacobs is cool, but it would have been better to keep Aaron Jones. You know what I mean? So, but on the flip side, the Packers did get Isaiah McKenzie, and I'm really excited about that, because him in the backfield and our secondary, that is secondary help that we need. That is a proven guy from the New York Giants, and I'm really excited for him to be able to, bring that expertise to Green Bay, where for the past few years, our defenses have been the weakest link on our team, and I'm glad that we're starting to build up on those things. I don't think we're done yet. I think there's still some people out there we can go get. I'm not worried about the receiving core because I saw that a lot of our young receivers are going to be talented. We have a young, talented group, and I really want to see them do well. And I'm ready to see them in their second and third years under the offense with Jordan Love. I'm really excited. I know we let Runyon go, David Bakhtiari go, guys who've been there for years, especially Bakhtiari, who has been there for we won the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, 11 seasons, and I'm just really sad about that because you hate to see those guys go who've been in the league for that long, been with the same team for that long. And I think that knee injury really messed him up because he hasn't really been back. He hasn't really been himself since that knee injury. He's tried a couple of games, just didn't work. But I want to thank them all for just a lot of the great memories in Green Bay and what they've brought to us as an organization, as fans. But for my Green Bay Packers, I just want them to really draft well, get some offensive linemen, get some guys that can protect Jordan Love. I wish we still kept Aaron Jones, but it is what it is. I just feel like, that would have been the best 1-2 punch we've ever seen in Lambeau. And I think defensively, I would love for us to get some, edge pressure, get some people that can get pressure on the quarterback, besides Rashawn Gary and Kenny Clark and Preston Smith on that front end. Get some guys that can go, alleviate some pressure off of them. And I'm really excited for where our team is headed. Aaron Jones was blindsided to me. That was a blindsided thing, but I'm glad we picked up. We got some guys, some people that can help us, get some veterans in there that can help the young group and compete. Now, Saquon Barkley, everyone, including myself, was thinking he was going to be a Texans by today. No, he's actually an Eagle. Man, my mom's a Giants fan, so I know she's like, what in the world is going on? He is an Eagle, along with Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. This, after everything that happened with the Eagles this past season, it was a disappointing season to their fans, to what they did the previous year, getting to the Super Bowl and how they made that run. This is a move you had to make. You had to make this move. You're an Eagles. You see Dallas and what they're doing. You see, the Commanders starting to stack up a little bit. They're starting to get, some pieces as well. Getting Saquon Barkley, a running back like him, of the caliber like him, within that offense, the Eagles, again, are going to probably be in that conversation. Now, it has a lot to do with, are they going to bring some people back? I know Fletcher Cox retired, Kelsey retired. This is going to be a telltale sign of how the Eagles are going to do. And I think they're going to do very well this coming season. I feel like everyone's going to get healthy. I think everyone's going to just reset button and just get back to what they were, running the ball, doing things like that, and being that physical team that we saw them to be with the tush push and everything like that. So for the Eagles, I expect them to be back. They re-signed Graham. That's a big deal. They got some people. I think the Eagles are rebuild, restack. You had that one season. You made it to the playoffs. That's no question. But now let's get back to where we were 2 years ago. Pittsburgh Steelers signed Russell Wilson, and I predicted that a week ago. I feel like Kenny Pickett has never been the answer. Even when he was drafted, he was not the answer. Mitch Trubisky signs with the Bills. And for them, I think for the Steelers, you build around Russell. You have a veteran guy that can go play, that can give you something. I just think that then you just need to build around him, get some receivers, go in the draft, get some offensive linemen to protect him, because he is old, not old, but he's older. He's a veteran quarterback, and he needs that protection. And he still gets paid from the Broncos. So, I mean, it works out well. So when we look at what's going on in the NFL, there's a lot of moving parts. Kirk Cousins to the Falcons. So much is going on in this. Austin Eckler signs with the Commanders, which is a big deal. Another star running back signing with a team that's rebuilding and looking to get a quarterback, probably in the draft. And teams to look out for quarterbacks. Now it's the Vikings, which I wasn't expecting Kirk Cousins to leave, but we're here now. Vikings are in the need of a quarterback. The Commanders are in need of a quarterback. The Broncos are in the need of a quarterback. So there's a lot going to be happening in the draft coming up, and free agency. It's not done. I think it's going to get crazier. There's going to be a lot of things happening. And I'm looking forward to it. But that wraps up this episode of First Impression Sports Talk. I want to thank Fluent Media again for hosting this. And I'm really excited for what's going to happen. And I will keep you guys posted. Again, make sure to follow me on YouTube or subscribe to my channel, which is First Impression Sports Talk. I'll be going live today with my guys Anthony and Cole. Cole is a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so I want to get his take. And then we have Anthony, who is a diehard New England Patriots fan. So we're going to be talking all things football, what to expect, and what our thoughts are, what our teams have done. So that wraps it up. Thank you guys. See you next time.